This story is not a copyright and duplication of sharing is encouraged. I remember one day when I actually I wanted to buy my first car in Australia, right? So I went to the RTA, that's the Roads Traffic Authority in Australia, and then I walked in and I asked the lady about how can I arrange to get a license, and then she told me, yeah, she told me, do you have a license, a driver's license? I said, of course, I have one from Mexico. So she took it and says, well, go back to the computers over there and then they're going to ask you a few questions and you're going to have to pass this test. And I said, for sure, no problems. So I went to the back and I went to have this test. I not even lasted like 2 minutes during this test and the machine went like, bang, and then I couldn't pass this test, man. And I walk out uh, and the lady, she told me, okay, you are only allowed to do your test once a day, so you're gonna have to come back tomorrow and try it again. So anyway, so I went back home, and then I was thinking like, I can't believe it. I cannot even lasted a minute or something like that. So I went back the following day, and she told me to go back to the computers, and then I walked to the back. I went through the test, and again I fell. And this woman, then when I came out, then that's when she asked me, have you read the book? This is an RTA manual that they give you for you to learn the rules in the roads in the streets in Australia. And I says, I don't need to read the book because I already know how to drive. So I got so offended by the question and I became very defensive. So, and I told her, I know how to drive already. I don't need to read the book. So I went home very upset. And the third time when I came back, I went back again to the back of the computers and I fell again and I just went back to my house and I came the following day, the fourth day I came back. And then she asked me again, have you read the book? And I said, I don't need to read the book. I already know how to drive. I went back, believe me, I went back the fifth time and I failed again. And the lady, that's when she told me, you haven't read the book, right? And she started to laugh hysterically. And not only that, she started to tell all the co-workers and the customers in there, look at him. He already fell so many times because he hasn't read the book. I got out of there. I was very upset and somehow I went back and I failed 6 times this test. And then one of the things is that I actually finally I humbled myself and I took this book and I went back to my place and I read this book overnight. And then when I walk inside the RTA, I went to the back and then immediately after a few minutes the machine went okay. I passed the test and I went out. And the lady was so happy. I think she was more happy than me because it's, oh, finally you have read the book. And she started telling all the co-workers in there, and then everyone was so happy. But then, man, we felt so embarrassed because I fell 7 times through the process of getting this license. But back then, it was like a wake-up call for me to really pay attention on and to understand that I didn't have it all together. But you know what? This is something that she never knew. I was born in Mexico City, and then I went as a kid to America. And in America, my dad taught me how to drive in the streets in Los Angeles. I never went to get a license. I never went for lessons. My dad says, here are the keys. I go beside you. Yes, drive. And that's how I learned how to drive. So when I went back to Mexico a few years after, I got a license, but the license was fake. So, I paid somebody just to give me a license, and that's how I actually ended up going to Australia with a fake license, and that didn't work. But I know it doesn't happen anywhere else. It only happens to Mexicans or people like me. But, over the years, I just thought about the story because I have so many. I have actually hundreds of amazing stories of all kinds, but then this is just one. But after a period of time, I came up with like the moral or the lesson of the story. And then I just wanted to say that number one, that we know that we're capable of doing great things, and there are times that we feel that we know it all, that we don't need no help, that we can take and tackle anything, in alone. But fortunately, for the sake of other people, we don't know everything, and we all need some sort of help and assistance to make it in life. We need guidance. We need especially accountability, and that can only come by aligning with someone that knows better, a mentor, a coach, or someone that has already been there and done that. I could say that I give up. After the third or fourth time when I went through the test, I would say I quit. I could never make it, or anything like that, or I'm useless, hopeless, because I went 3, 4, 5, 6 times, man, and I started to have pity for myself, man. But then, rather instead, I found a way. I discovered this way that I got a lot of ego, so I needed to humble myself and tackle this thing properly, and then started to pay attention, shut up, and study the book until I get it right. And then what happens is that after the sixth time, after I humble myself, I only read the book once, and when I went the following day, I passed the test immediately. And I know what you're thinking. You could say you could have done that in the first place, and but I have already been through that. But if I did went through, if I would have read the book in the first place, then I wouldn't have a crazy story to tell you, right? So, but I just want to let you know that there are times that we need to prepare, that we don't know it all, that we need some coaching, we need some learning, and if you don't know anything, ask the person above you for some help. And keep on growing, keep on learning, keep on expanding yourself, because there are so many things that are actually available for us, that we can do for people, and we just need to be prepared. We need to grow, and people are waiting for us. The best is yet to be. See you later, champions.